Well, howdy.
Hi there.
Ever since I told you you sound the same, you've been changing it up. What you say?
Trying to be conscious of my tone and my inflection.
Well, I tried to say howdy the same.
Yeah,
I see we both have our Utah Jazz hats on,
indeed.
getting ready for the start of the season.
I like your old throwback hat there.
Well, throwback to the 90s.
Yeah. It's officially a throwback now.
Yeah. I think people when it first came out thought it was horrible.
I felt that way in the beginning, but now it just brings back so many good memories.
Nostalgia. There was a radio station when I was in France. The mom of the family I was staying with, the Portuguese family, remember?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the radio station was Nostalgie. I don't remember the number, like the station frequency. Yeah. I don't remember that number, but Nostalgie. Wasn't nostalgic for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Portuguese family in Western France?
Yeah, Western France.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, a lot of fun history there in La Rochelle. Well, not fun history. It's not a fun history when you're besieged by your own country, and then you go from a population of tens of thousands down to like 5,000 or something like that in the space of a few months.
Is this part of the? Well, I'm terrible at history. Would this be part of long, like 1800 revolution stuff? Or are you talking?
No, before then.
Oh, before then.
I think I'm horrible for not remembering, but I'm pretty sure it was before then. I think it has to do with the Huguenots. Is that it? Isn't that what the Edict of Nantes that said they could practice religion, and then like a little bit later they came back and said, "Oh, we changed our mind."
Well, I'll tell you, there's a reason we're not doing a history podcast. You'd have a different co-host anyway.
Yeah, there was an edict. It was like a groundbreaking edict. I think it was in the 1600s or something in France, saying you could practice your religion that was different from, I don't even know what the main religion was. And I think that's where the Huguenots came from. And then a lot of them ended up over in Canada, and that's where the French-speaking Canadians come from. I think. If I'm wrong, please tell me. We do have a French listener. You can fill us in on all this.
Are the Canadian French tied to, I would guess, somehow like the New Orleans French thing?
I mean, linguistically, not really, but I mean, yeah.
Historically, geographically, did they?
I mean, I think it's a kind of a similar thing in Louisiana. They were kicked out of France, or they're not wanted there. I think, again, my history is not that good. Yep. Mm-hmm.
The extent of my French history knowledge is, I know their kings were all Louis, not all of them, but a lot of them. And then French Revolution stuff. The extent of my knowledge is basically the guillotine and Les Mis.
Robespierre. Well, Les Mis was a different revolution.
Oh, the later one?
Yeah, I think so. I think that had to do with like Napoleon's cousin. It was like Napoleon III. Okay.
How about the Scarlet Pimpernel then? Is that the older one?
No, I think that's the original, or not the original, but
also the Les Mis one.
No, I think that's the same as ours, the 1776, 77, 78 one, whatever, around that time.
All I know is they wanted the rich aristocrats dead.
I have the hardest time, by the way, not saying aristocrats every time I think of that word. So if I'm ever in a conversation and I need to say aristocrat, I have to think about it for a second.
Thank you, Disney.
Aristocrats. Yeah. Scarlet Pimpernel is a fun book and a movie.
Yeah,
we had to review that one. Sank me.
Yeah, the acting. You're talking about the one with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, right?
Yeah. Sir Ian. He's not Sir at the time, but Ian McKellen's in it.
Yeah, that's right. But the main actor guy, he really hams it up.
Yeah, he plays a fop.
They keep calling in the book just like a dope or something.
Yeah, just kind of a buffoon. Yeah, that's a fun little movie. I like it.
Good story.
But yeah, I could talk about French history. Not that I know a lot about it, but I could talk about it a lot. Going to World War II, which is not fun, but the city La Rochelle, I stayed in the house that was on a street named Oradour-sur-Glane, I think is the name. I probably mispronounce it, but has to do with the city that, as the Germans were leaving, or I shouldn't say Germans, as the Nazis were leaving. I don't want to lump all of them together. As the Nazis were leaving, they just basically destroyed the city on their way out of France.
Brutal, all that stuff.
Yeah. One of my favorite singers, George Brassens, was he was in basically a workers' camp in the south. I don't know. I'm laughing. In the southern part of France, or at some part of France, I don't know where he was, and he was off for a little bit, and he basically just left and didn't come back, and kind of hid out and just kept writing little poems and songs and stuff. He's a fun little guy.
Yeah, France's history is fascinating. Even though I know just a little bit, it seems so rich.
Yeah.
One thing I do know, when we lived in Germany with my dad's job in high school for a few years, we were like Western Germany, so we were able to come over to France quite a bit.
Yeah.
Paris and like Frankfurt, Germany are only a few hours away.
Yeah.
Each other, so we would cross over a lot to go over to Paris, and I didn't see much of the rest of France. I still need to go back and see like the
southern France, yeah,
all that stuff. We did see Paris and Normandy and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of World War II, or maybe this is World War One. I'm not sure. I think World War II towns that they've kind of preserved where the bombs hit, and they've let grass grow back over it. Like the city of Verdun.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a French pronunciation of that, but
that was pretty good. That's not bad. There's a lot of in a lot of cities they have like we have same names of things. Like the name of that road, I'm probably again mispronounced Oradour-sur-Glane. There's like Place de Verdun is a place generally where, at least in La Rochelle, that's where all the buses go. There's a lot of these street names and stuff where we have named after presidents. They have named after cities and other things like that, other key cities during world wars.
Gotcha.
Things to remember. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what about in Germany? What do they have? We're kind of getting off topic, but this is fun.
Germany's interesting. Of course, they had tons of cities destroyed. I don't know what else to say.
Like the names of streets. And
just names of streets specifically.
Yeah. Do they have common names?
They have all kinds of things. There was a little village next to the one we lived in where all the town names were oh goodness, what are they called? The fairy tales, the Grimm brother fairy tales. So it was like, Rapunzel Street, and I think Rapunzel was that a Grimm fairy tale. Definitely Rumpelstiltskin was.
Yeah.
One.
What's the guy that falls asleep up in the woods?
I don't know.
And then he wakes up like 100 years later. Rip Van Winkle.
Oh, Rip Van Winkle.
Yeah. Is that one?
That's not Grimm fairy tales.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. English or something.
Oh.
But anyway, or maybe Dutch, Danish, one of those.
Oh, because of the Van Winkle?
Yeah.
Is that a Dutch thing?
I think so. It's not a German thing, but
It's interesting what you can tell from a name.
yeah, for real. Yeah, German streets. You've still got people's names. You've got a lot of
Like previous leaders' names and stuff.
yeah, leaders and fairy tales and a lot of Germans are really literal about things in a lot of cases in their language, and so um, just a lot of roads like uh, well, every town has a main street, of course. They still have that, and then you have like the West Roundabout Way and the small path through town
But you got to say them in German.
way. Main Street, Hauptstraße. And I'm trying to think. We lived on Lerchenweg, which I actually can't remember what Lerchen is. I should know that for sure. That was when I was a kid before I really learned German. Anyway, Germany is probably similar to English or American streets, rather, where we have people and descriptive like scenery type names.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a fun little deviation. I thought I could, where we both taught foreign languages, world languages for a while. It's easy to get off on those tangents.
Couldn't be further from the topic today, though.
Nope. Well, this is Nancy,
and I'm Brando,
which we've already done. But this is our podcast. This is our podcast, Somewhat Diverted. And we were just diverted there a little bit.
Somewhat.
But I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you didn't, well, I can't undo it. So just hold tight and we'll get to the movie. We are still sponsored, putting that out there. We still have our sponsor. So that's good. They didn't quit us. Wish I could quit you. What does he say in Brokeback Mountain?
I never saw that one.
I never saw it either, but I know the quote.
Oh.
Wish I knew how to quit you, or something like that.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Does that Heath Ledger or something?
Yeah. We're jumping all over. I seriously just lost my train of thought.
We could start by saying this is the second in a mini series of podcasts.
We could, so let's. And you've already said it, so let's go.
This is the second of a series within a series that we like to call
Which is better?
Which is better? Older or the remake? The original or the remake?
Yeah. And these, last time we did Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters, which they weren't a shot-for-shot remake or a direct remake. It was just like a new story, a new origin story. That was kind of fun. This time around, though, it is, while it wasn't a shot-for-shot remake, they are telling the same story in these two movies.
Yeah, and it's pretty close. If you take like scenes at large, like big scenes, I would say it's close to shot-for-shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, not within those scenes, small angles and things are not just smaller scenes are different.
Yeah, but was it 1969 is when the first movie came out, and I had to look that up, and then 2010. So what is that? Almost. Yeah, I was gonna say 50, but I'm off by about 9 years.
You know what's still funny to me is how time is so just relative in my mind, at least. 1983, the year I was born, to 2010 is 27 years. And yet, thinking back to 1969, which was just, I guess, 14 years earlier than my birthday, seems like
forever.
A whole different generation.
It seems like a lot changes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure the people that lived from, like my parents, 69 to 83, that felt like nothing.
Yeah. that's the kind of time frame we're looking at. And the movies we're going to talk about are True Grit. The old
True Grit. This is our first
yeah.
foray, I think, into John Wayne's territory.
Which is scary because you don't mess with the Duke, even though he's dead. You don't mess with the Duke, do you?
I don't think so.
He was a big dude.
Prolific filmmaker, big guy in real life.
Yeah, on and off screen, big guy.
I hear he was named after an airport.
John Wayne. I think I've heard that too.
No, I don't know. Maybe they named the airport after him. Probably.
Yeah, no. I think he was named after the airport. The airport came first.
So, what do you think right off the bat here? What are we getting ourselves into?
I'm nervous if my dad listens.
He's
huge John Wayne fan. Yeah,
your dad is John Wayne, basically.
His?
Just a cowboy man.
Yeah, just a cowboy. I remember once we went to Chicago. We were at the Field Museum in Chicago, and there was a little kid there. It had all this cool stuff around, the lions from that movie, The Ghost in the Darkness, not literally from the movie, but the real lions from Kenya that were killing all those people. There's the Hope Diamond is there. I don't know. No, that's not there. A bunch of other stuff, really cool stuff. And my dad's walking around with his cowboy hat and his boots and stuff on, his little Western type shirt. And there's this little kid just staring at my dad. Mom, look, there's a cowboy. Made that little kid's day seeing a cowboy.
Yeah. Don't see a lot of cowboys in Chicago, I don't think.
No, probably not. Not anymore anyway. It used to be a big town for like cattle drives. They would end up in Chicago sometimes, wouldn't they?
That's true because, well, actually, I don't know if that's true. I do know a cow caused the fire.
Yeah, Miss O'Leary's cow.
At least legend would say that.
Yeah. So I'm a bit worried about this one, just talking about the Duke, John Wayne, and I don't know what it's going to end up being, but what if we trash on his movie?
Yeah.
That's no good. No. But they got Jeff Bridges to play the same role as Rooster Cogburn, kind of the lead male actor.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that that's the primary character?
It's obviously between him and the girl.
Yeah, little Maddie Ross.
Maddie. Yeah. And you could argue that it's Maddie. I mean, she's the one that starts the whole hunt and gets everyone kind of rounded up to head out there.
Yeah. It's kind of a 1A, 1B type of situation. I feel like in the older movie that you knew John Wayne was going to be in it, and it was just kind of a wait, and just kind of build until you saw John Wayne, and then everything from there is going to be okay because John Wayne's in it.
Yeah. Yeah, in both cases, you've got A-list actors playing Rooster Cogburn, and I don't know about the girl in 1969, but Haley Steinfeld, this was her first big screen appearance, I think.
Yeah, so. I think it was her first one. And she did an amazing job in that movie.
I like her a lot.
She's been great in most of the movies that I've seen. Although that little talk show Zach Galifianakis has called Between Two Ferns.
Yeah. Yes.
I saw really quickly a clip of Haley Steinfeld recently being on that. And he was asking her questions, getting her a little upset about how Bumblebee was. I don't know how celebrities agree to be on that show. Like they know it's a joke, right? He just is so mean.
I know. I mean, we could talk about that a different day, but one of my favorites is when he had Brad Pitt on there, and You get that real cheap like text on the screen, explaining who they are, and it says Bradley Pitts, um, and then something underneath, not like actor or something like that, but just
Doesn't Brad Pitt end up spitting his gum at him?
I don't remember about that. I do remember that at the time Brad Pitt had just filmed the movie Fury, the the war one, I think,
The tank one.
the tank one, and um, Zach kept calling it furry.
If you haven't seen Between Two Ferns, it's pretty good. He just pokes at him.
Like real stuff that you would think really could hurt your feelings if they didn't agree to beforehand.
Right. He's just, I think, just seeing what's happened. But she was pretty good on that. Had some pretty good straight faces if she's in on the joke, and I think she's a great little. I want to say little, but she's all grown up now. Isn't she?
Oh yeah,
she's like an adult now.
She was 2010. She's how old is Maddie? Like 13, 14 or something?
Yeah, she's got to be around that age. So she's got to be mid-20s then.
Yeah.
So she's all grown up. But I like her better. If we're going to talk about characters, I like her better than her counterpart. I can't even remember her name. I have to look it up here. Where is it there? Kim Darby. I did not like Kim Darby as Maddie Ross. She was a bit annoying. I mean, she's supposed to be a bit annoying at times, but extra. She was extra annoying.
I know I mentioned my wife a lot on here. My wife says she likes that I mention her a lot, but she's always the one watching the movies with me.
Yeah.
She said the same thing. She likes, and I agree, Haley Steinfeld plays a better Maddie Ross overall.
Yeah.
We also really liked, I mean, I know we said it wasn't shot for shot, but there are lots of shots that are the same. Like,
yes. Yeah.
When she's going to bargain with the cattle guy.
I love that scene in both movies.
Yeah.
It's better in the newest one, but I love it in both movies.
We liked the way, like, that was a good example of where Haley was even better. And
yeah.
And that guy, actually, my wife specifically mentioned how she liked him better in the new movie than the old one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good scene. But I would say, just quickly mentioning characters here, there is one character in the old movie, one actor, I should say, who is on my list of, if I had to, just in my mind right now, I've never actually written this out, but make a list of all the actors and actresses, or if we're saying actors to include everybody, that are underrated and never really listed in greatest all-time actors.
Can I tell you who I think you're speaking of?
Yeah. Go ahead.
He has the line, it's bold talk for a one-eyed fat man. Is it Robert Duvall?
It's Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
He is so good. I mean, just like everything he says is cool. Everything. I mean, even he just, like, the more he aged too, I thought the cooler he got.
Yeah. Seems like a really, really cool guy.
But he was a good bad guy in that.
Yeah, I've got a story about Robert Duvall. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not like kind of name dropping, but it's a similar instance to the George Lucas story. A friend of mine I grew up with, his brother is I guess was a lawyer. He's since retired, but he did really well for himself. Has this nice big house out in a north. Well, I guess we're in northern Utah, so northern Utah. Big house, a nice pool, larger property. He's done really well for himself. And he gets this call one day on his phone, saying, "Hey, this is Robert Duvall. I'm interested in maybe taking a look at your house and seeing if I could use it in a movie or something."
Really?
Because he had this movie planned where he kind of this same situation, was a lawyer that did well off, and he wanted to see about using the house, and he ended up calling him, as a message that after he called him back, and they came over and he visited. They never ended up using his house, but he visited with him, and he said he was just an overall cool guy to be around. And
Oh man,
super nice about everything. Gave him a couple autographs and stuff.
how do you think you found the house? Like, do they have
I have
scouts or something?
I have no idea. I can't remember. He must have been in the area maybe and was driving around. I don't honestly don't know.
I've wondered that in general for movies, how they find them. But I imagine there's professional scouts that I don't know if the studios have them or if they're just sell their lists and pictures to the studios, or
Yeah, could be.
I don't know.
But yeah, Robert Duvall, he's up there. One of my favorite actors. I love him in this movies. I've had never seen him in a Western movie other than Lonesome Dove,
Uh-huh.
and he plays the good guy in Lonesome Dove. And this one, he's more of a bad guy. I don't think he pulls it off 100% well, but
Maybe because you know him as a good guy most of the time.
that could be it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
but he's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Days of Thunder
Prolific.
with old Tom Cruise. Nicole Kidman, I think's in that too, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah. Who else we got? Of course, Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, the new Rooster.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tall order, coming in, filling in, or being recast.
Right.
In place of John Wayne.
Yeah. Can you imagine someone pitching the idea to him? So we got this idea for him. We want to remake this movie. It's a Western movie. They're talking all the details. And we want you to play the main character, and they finally tell him what the movie is, and he realizes, wait, you want me to play John Wayne's character?
Yeah. Yeah, and he's old enough, I'm sure, to know even better what a big deal he was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I had some other thoughts about the cinematography and the scenery. Any thoughts there that you had?
I feel like the old movie, the John Wayne version, is more like the older Western movies.
Yeah,
where it was more about the big shots and being able to see a lot more of the mountains and the prairies and the trees and stuff. That's not so much in the newer movie, although they have those occasionally. Yeah. It's just not as much.
Right. Totally agree. It's like just a calendar, the old one.
Mm-hmm.
Nature calendar.
Beautiful, which is probably why, I'll be honest, probably why my dad loves those movies so much, because he loves beautiful little valleys. He always tells them we'd go on vacation driving through mountains. Look at this beautiful little valley here. I think it's funny until he says it every time. But no, it's definitely more of a outdoorsy version. The old one. The new one is more about the characters, I feel like.
Yeah. I read something really interesting today about the Coen brothers who made the newer one.
Yeah.
And I was, trying to think of some of the other movies that they had made, like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I don't know if you've ever seen Raising Arizona, or
hadn't seen that one.
What's the assassin one? No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put it into words myself, but I came across this blog where somebody said that if you had to describe the Coen brothers style, like Fargo, I think is another one, right?
Yeah.
that their movies as a rule are steeped, this is a quote, steeped in a slightly embellished reality, which I thought was perfect, because even taking like the plain straight shot old John Wayne version of this movie, and then the Coen brother version, I don't know if you remember, like they've added snow and like really dark, not dark, but when they're first walking, when they're first going to find this guy in the Indian territory or whatever they call it, it's snowing. In the new one, it's snowing and it's dark.
Right.
Yeah, things are just like embellished a little bit. Did you see the new thing on Netflix? It was kind of a anthology. Is that what you call it? Just a series of short films called The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
I never watched it. I wanted to. I read a lot of that articles and that said it was really good.
I think you should. I think you should try it. They're like 5 or 6 short stories that just have very embellished realities.
There's a lot of character actors that I love that are in that show.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one, I think that they couldn't go too far with this one. It doesn't seem so embellished like some of their other movies, but definitely had that a little bit of flair to it that the old one didn't. The old one was just kind of straight as far as realistic and natural and things like that. But I thought it was an interesting addition in some cases is the way that they use colors and not colors, but just I specifically remember that snowy scene and how dark it was, and it was definitely more like help you focus on the characters and what was happening. And
yeah, well, there's even the beginning where Maddie Ross, Haley Steinfeld is going to the house where she's going to be laying sleeping. What do they call those? I almost said halfway house, but it's not a halfway house.
Yeah,
it's
like
a boarding house.
A boarding house, yeah.
Yeah. And Matt Damon, who we haven't mentioned, takes the place of the Glenn Campbell role, but Matt Damon's there and he's lighting his pipe or cigarette. And that's kind of a shot that was in the old one as well, but I like it better in the Coen Brothers movie, the new one, because it is much more dark and the light of the match is really keys you into that character.
Right, orange, yeah.
Yeah. There's the end of the movie. It's also not the very end of the movie, but the darkness at the end of the movie, near the end of the movie, I should say, after she's bit by the snake and she's getting hauled to safety, and then even the beginning, the darkness when she's starting to tell the story is kind of blurry, and then it fades into the snow, and then John Chaney running away on the horse. Josh Brolin, by the way, both movies are filled with pretty good actors, but I feel like the nod goes to the newer movie as far as breadth.
Yeah, kind of ensemble casts almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, big differences in cinematography for sure. They're totally different in that way.
I wouldn't necessarily know if one is better or not. Kind of depends on. I know what I like better, but there are some things I like. Like overall, I think the newer one's better as far as the cinematography goes.
Yeah.
But there are some things like the nature shots I like better in the old one, because everything in the new one feels closed down. You've got the like the snow scene you're talking about when they're going through, and there's the guy in the bear suit following after him, and all the scrub oak type trees are just all over the place, and you can't really see. You don't have a good distance, and most of the scenes you don't have a very good distance. You can't see far away in the newer movie. In the older movie, you could see. You didn't feel so claustrophobic.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of blurs the genre just a little bit. It's not so obvious that it's a Western. When they're in town and things like that, obviously you can tell, but the old one, I think 10 out of 10 people would answer it's a Western, and the new one a little bit less so. But and then plot differences. I mean, overall, same exact story with a couple different outcomes for some characters.
Right.
The
ending's a bit different.
Yeah, the ending of the new one is a little harsher, right? Like a little.
Right. And I started reading the book. I meant to finish it to see which one was closer to the book. Not that matters, but I didn't finish. There are a couple things I want to talk about when it comes to that, but yeah, the ending of the new one is much more harsh. I wonder if it's more like the book.
Yeah, because we got, just going down a list of things that I remember, is for one, Maddie loses an arm in the new one, not in the old one. there's, I think in the old one too, there was just like one snake that's visible on the screen at least.
Yeah.
In the new one, there was a bunch.
In the old one, Glenn Campbell, the Texan, he dies.
Yeah, and in the new one, you're left not to know, right?
No, I think they mention.
I this very part, my wife was like, "Oh, they don't know what happened to Matt Damon," and I said, "No, he lived." But Rooster Cogburn said he'd probably be 60 or 75 now, or something like that. And then I went back, and he said if he's still alive, he'd be 70 or something, whatever they say.
When she's telling the more of the story,
maybe when she's telling it,
yeah,
like
that's when she's older. But I thought she remembers talking to him later, or seeing him later, and yeah.
So at least he lived a little bit after he got shot, and then
beat over the head with a big old rock.
Beat over the head, I mean, off of at the end.
Yeah, smashed.
Yeah, and then the big difference, of course, Rooster himself, right?
Yeah, he dies, but he dies of like old age, like a heart attack or something.
They don't show in the John Wayne one that kind of ends on a happy note where she says, "Here's my family cemetery, and we saved a spot for you."
Yeah. They actually made another movie with John Wayne just called Rooster Cogburn. I don't know if you ever watched that. It had I was getting mixed up, so I might have to concentrate. It had what's her name? Hepburn. Catherine. Yeah. With the shaky voice. I love her as an actor. Yeah, it was just called Rooster Cogburn. But in this one, she goes when she's older. Maddie Ross goes to see him at some like shooting circus type thing, and he's, I guess, running around with Jesse James and Cole Younger, something like that.
Okay.
And she finds out that he passed away just a few weeks before or something like that. So she wasn't able to see him again. But you don't kill John Wayne.
Yeah.
You don't kill John Wayne. There's what's his, I forget his name. It's Laura Dern's dad was in the movie Cowboys with John Wayne. He was the bad guy.
Oh,
he's the bad guy that shot John Wayne and killed him, and he said that ruined his career.
He's like, I was just going by the script. Bruce Dern. Isn't it Bruce?
Is it Bruce? That sounds like it could be it.
I think it's Bruce Dern. It was on the tip of my tongue. Something else I didn't know. I actually should confess that I didn't grow up watching John Wayne, and I don't know. I knew who he was. His name is ubiquitous, but I didn't watch a lot of the movies.
Was it because the airport?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know why. My grandpa was a huge cowboy guy. My grandpa read like Louis L'Amour books every day.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I didn't realize that True Grit is kind of the end of John Wayne's career. I would have maybe thought it was like prime John Wayne. I guess it's still prime John Wayne, but it's
towards the end, yeah.
Tail end thing. So, but anyway, yeah. Other than that, not a lot of differences. Story was very close. A lot of the same lines, even.
Yeah, they change a little bit. And again, I was trying to see if it was based on the book more, but they change like who puts the coat over the chimney on that one little shack in the middle of nowhere. In the old movie, it was Glenn Campbell's character. Why can't I think of his name? The Texan. What's his name? Oh, LaBeef.
Oh yeah, LaBeef.
LaBeef. But in the new movie, it was Maddie Ross because LaBeef wasn't with him at the time.
That's right.
That one's a little bit different. I do like and that was Dennis Hopper, by the way, because he got his start in Western movies. But Dennis Hopper was the kid that got his fingers chopped off, and or stabbed.
Another big name.
Those scenes were about the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of similar scenes, a lot of shot for shots. Just the newer ones a little bit clearer. The darks and the lights are a little bit more pronounced, especially the darks.
Yeah. Starkly.
But, yeah.
Contrast, would you say?
Mm-hmm. That's the word for that.
I just learned how to define. I'm serious. I just learned this because something else you and I have been working on, but had reason, without going into a long story, just to be looking at some things about brightness and contrast and things like that, like in Photoshop, for example. And I couldn't have told you by definition the difference between the two. I just knew that they both change the lighting kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Brightness is, and you can tell me if I'm saying this right, but brightness is like every pixel, every part of the picture becomes brighter.
Mm-hmm.
And contrast exaggerates the difference between dark and light. So if you went perfectly gray, anything below that, darker than that, gets darker,
mm-hmm.
and anything brighter than that gets brighter. So you do see some brightening, but then you also see some darkening. And so that really, I don't know why that's stuck with me, but I just thought, oh, that makes perfect sense. And this movie seemed really in high contrast. You got really bright things and really dark,
but not in the sense of contrasting colors.
Yeah, no, not contrasting colors, just contrasting brightnesses.
Brightness, yeah, and darkness, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of different characters. Some things new, some things the same. The guy that plays Ned Pepper in the new movie, I don't know his name, but I feel like he does a better job than Robert Duvall, even though Robert Duvall's much better actor overall. I just didn't feel like he did as good a job. I didn't believe him as much as the bad guy, but that could be, again, me coming in from the fact that I've only ever seen him as the nice guy or the good guy.
The Ned Pepper, I know this. My sister asked me if we have notes when we're doing these, and I have to say, Scout's honor, 90% of the stuff that I say, I really remember. Like, I really remembered Bruce Dern's name. I did not look that up. But I did look up the new actor for Ned Pepper because I didn't know his name. And his name is Barry Pepper. Weird, huh? Yeah. He's the dude in The Green Mile that he's one of the
guards?
The guards. He's also in Saving Private Ryan. I think.
I know who you're talking about.
In True Grit, you don't recognize him as well, but in those ones, I think a lot of people would recognize him. Kind of as one of those faces you see a lot, but you don't.
Yeah. Here, I'll take a picture of my screen here for your sister that doesn't believe that we don't use notes here.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't have any notes. I looked up the years. I don't remember those, but
yeah, sometimes we'll look up the years. I didn't know, but like in our first episode, I remembered.
No notes. We just
we do know some stuff, is what I'm saying. But we try to be honest.
If we had notes, I think it would be better planned out.
I know.
We wouldn't ramble, but
not a great style if we're totally prepared with notes.
Smooth transitions and things like that. Yeah, if we're prepared, we're very horribly prepared. But that's the fun in talking about entertainment. From an entertainment perspective, is you don't have to necessarily have notes. You talk about what you remember, because what you remember is generally the stuff that stands out, good and bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the important thing. Both movies, I feel like, are watchable even now. There are some negatives to the old movie. It's not as crisp. No offense to the lady that played her, but the girl that plays Maddie Ross doesn't do as good a job. It's like she's reading the lines.
Yeah, she's not quite as... She was very assertive and strong-willed, obviously. She, but Haley to me was like so cool, like so strong, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was great. I agree with you on that. Hundo P.
Hundo P.
That's what the kids are saying.
That's what the kids are saying. 100%. Is that a Hundo P?
Hundo P. A lot quicker.
So I would say that we should, in this case, instead of ranking which one's better, well, we'll do that, but we should give each one a rating as well.
Okay.
So let's start with the John Wayne version. I would give it a. We'll just go with the title sake. I would give it a somewhat or slightly diverted.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would give it. Let me think for a second. I would probably give it. I had a word on the tip of my tongue and now I can't remember. I was trying to think of those surveys you take where it's like there's like 10 options and you're like, the middle one is no opinion, and then it's like I would favor one. Like the next one up is like I would favor one if I had to choose, and then the next one is, anyway, they're so subtle. But I would say adequately diverting.
Oh, okay. I gotta punch that in, don't I?
Yeah.
I'm worried I'm gonna actually push a key that will stop the recording or something. I mean, I'm in the other program that tells us what these are rated. That's right. Well, it comes back. So we got an adequately and a slightly. And it comes back with an. I don't know if I can read that. What does that say?
Take your time if you need.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Antiquatedly diverting.
Oh, okay.
So it's I think what it's trying to say is it is diverting, but of an older style.
Yeah, you've got to be aware of that going in.
Yeah, it's an older style of diverting.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I know it just nails it. Have you speaking of nails it? Do you watch that show on Netflix? Nailed It.
No,
it's my favorite cooking show. My kids love it. They get like amateur bakers and they try to make them bake these.
I've seen the
crazy elaborate cakes and stuff.
Yeah,
they just come out horrible.
I've
nailed
seen
it.
the meme thing like where they show the Pinterest pictures side by side with someone trying it.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's pretty good. It's a fun little watch. But anyway, that computer, it nails it every time. It
classic.
Yeah. The newer version, old Jeff Bridges. The Bridges family, by the way, is fantastic. There's that word. I've been not saying it on purpose. The Bridges family. They got Lloyd Bridges, who's
the dad.
He's the dad. He's the if you don't know Lloyd Bridges, you don't know. He plays the grandpa Mantelbaum in Seinfeld.
He also
had the world's greatest dad episodes.
Didn't he have a glue sniffing problem?
He was in Airplane. Yes, he had a glue sniffing problem. He had a smoking problem. And what else did he quit too soon? He quit amphetamines. He was a funny guy. Lloyd Bridges. Then there's another Bridges. I can't remember his name, but he's a little bit bigger, a little heftier,
a little nicer looking than Jeff. Not nicer, just I don't know, a little more like a regular dad look kind of.
Oh, okay. Not yeah. I don't know.
Nicer, like better looking, but
now that's something I don't know that I would have to look up, but I'm not going to.
I feel like I could come up with it. if I sat here for a minute.
Anyway, the Bridges family are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Rating them. All right, the second movie. Leonard Cohen. Is that one of their names?
Yeah. Sang songs and made movies.
Why is Leonard Cohen in my brain? Who is that?
A singer, I think.
Oh.
Musician.
I would give the newer movie a I don't even know. Come back to me. You do you first.
I know exactly what I'm going to say this time, and I think I feel really good about it. I would say, think about this before you just dismiss it. I would say that it's adequately diverting, sprinkled with a little pepper.
White or black pepper?
Black pepper. You know,
Oh, okay.
It's got a little more contrast and starkness to it. And are we saying yet which one we?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I'm gonna give it adequately diverting, yeah, and then a little pepper on top of that.
Just a little pepper, a little bit of seasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to say out loud that the main villain is named Pepper?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you just did, but
All right.
Okay. I would say that that's a good rating, and I would come back with it being a above average diverting.
All right. Well, let's get the official consensus.
Now, I looked at the old IMDb earlier to find out the dates, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it links Rotten Tomatoes to IMDb. Anyway, the new movie is a 7.6. The old movie is a 7.4. So they're pretty close, within 2/10, if I'm remembering number systems correctly. The older one only has like 50,000 votes. The new one has like 300 and something thousand votes.
Oh.
But for me, I feel like it's pretty close. I don't know if it's that close, but I feel like it's pretty close. I would rank the new one ahead. Sorry, Dad. I would rank the new one ahead, and I don't even know by how much. But here's my reasoning for that: is I feel like in the old movie, everyone knew John Wayne was in it, and you knew what kind of character John Wayne played in pretty much all of his movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are exceptions, but he was always the good guy or the misunderstood bad guy. He was still a good guy as a bad guy. Thinking about The Shootist, where he was that was one of his last movies where he was a gunfighter. But he was always had good morals and stuff. So once he was on screen, I feel like you could breathe a sigh of relief. You knew everything was going to be fine because it's John Wayne. And I think that takes away from the movie a little bit. Whereas with Lloyd Bridges, you don't really necessarily know are you going to get the dude?
You mean Jeff Bridges, I think.
What'd I say? Did I say Lloyd Bridges?
That would have been a whole different movie.
I can see him walking around with his world's greatest dad shirt on from Seinfeld and want to see me lift that TV? Oh. That's what happens when you don't have notes. You say the wrong person.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges, you don't know what you're going to get, right? It could get the dude. You could get the asshole. Whoa.
Oh.
You could get the acid riddled brain from The Men Who Stare at Goats, Jeff Bridges. That was a slip of the tongue. You could get I don't even know what his name is in Tron, but the sleek computer nerd from Tron. I'm just trying to say that Jeff Bridges, played a lot more of a variety of characters.
Yeah.
So you don't know, and it's more believable that he's kind of a gruff, mean guy than John Wayne, if that makes sense.
You know what? I just thought of something we didn't talk about. I wanted to mention really fast before you finish. There is one thing I actually really liked was that in both movies, John Wayne is boarding with an little Asian guy, right? Little Chinese guy.
Yeah.
And he makes him food, and he's super nice. He has a cute little character. I liked him.
That in the old movie, that same character, that same actor is in a few other John Wayne movies. I don't know if you've seen McClintock. That's one of my favorite John Wayne movies.
The ones I have seen.
He's in that one as well. Wait, is he? No, it's not that one. Or is it that one? Yeah, he's the chef. He's the cook.
I wouldn't remember. I've seen McClintock and Big Jake, I think.
Yeah. McClintock's one of my favorites. It's a good one.
Is he in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, or is that?
Yeah.
I've seen that one.
Well, spoiler alert, he is the man that actually shot Liberty Valance, not Jimmy Stewart.
Wow. Spoiler alert for sure.
Yeah. That's a great movie, by the way. It's got that actor in it that I always forget his name, Lee Marvin. Oh, no, yeah. Not Lee Marvin.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You tried to. What were you doing when we saw him? And then you said, "Don't tell me his name." And I looked it up, and
you told me his name. Is it Lee Marvin?
Days later. I think so.
Anyway,
sounds right.
I didn't mention the thing from the book either. There was one thing at the beginning when they get to town. They're going to hang 3 people, right? Mm-hmm. 2 just regular robber dudes, and one was a Native American guy they were going to hang, who actually in the new movie, it's what's his name from Parks and Rec? Ken. Anyway, the Native American guy from Parks and Rec, from the Pawnee.
Oh.
It's the same guy. Anyway, in the old movie, I don't remember him saying anything, but the people go on to say their piece. No, in the old movie, maybe he does say something. In the new movie, the Native American Kenwood, whatever his name is from Parks and Rec, goes to say something, and then he just shoved the hood over his face so he can't talk. And I thought that would be, how do I word this? Like, my own view of the past was they were so prejudiced against him, they wouldn't let him talk, and they wouldn't do it. They would just cover their heads. But in the book, I got this far at least. The Native American dude is the one that actually says the big long speech about raising your kids up right and that sort of thing, which I found interesting. So I feel like they were playing on my perceived prejudices of olden times, mm-hmm. of Native Americans. I wonder how much they do that in movies.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Anyway, that was what I was going to mention from the book.
I'm always glad to learn these are books. I didn't know that. It's cool. I did learn one other thing too, because I told my dad, my parents are great parents, and they ask me about the podcast all the time, and they're really nice to listen. And I'm pretty sure something came up about Westerns, and I don't know why I thought this. I'm sure that I made it up in my mind, but I thought the old term spaghetti Western came from there's a lot of explosions from guns and stuff, and it's like splintered wood, or something from
mm-hmm.
gun going through the saloon, or a bullet going through the saloon, or something like that.
Anyway, you thought it came from that?
Yeah, because I'd heard somewhere that Hollywood used spaghetti noodles to create wood explosions. I don't know if that's true either, but so I just had heard that, and I think that I put that together thinking, oh, that must be where it's from.
So silly.
But my dad told me it's because they were filmed in Italy.
Yeah. Like a lot of the Clint Eastwood westerns were spaghetti westerns.
I had no idea. That's something I just learned.
It's crazy, isn't it? Apparently, Italy looks like the Wild West.
Yeah. Very cool.
So we live in the West. Apparently, that means we don't need to go to Italy.
Yeah. Seen one.
You've seen one Wild West. You've seen them all. Did we get your opinion on which one was better?
No, I don't think I said, but to me the answer is pretty easy. Overall, I like the new one quite a bit better, but I tend to favor things that are a little more gritty. And
yeah. For a movie called True Grit, the old one didn't have a lot of grit to it.
I didn't even say that because of the title, but absolutely. The newer one is definitely grittier, and I really do like this sweeping landscapes too. I think they're really nice. But the stark contrasts, light and dark, and kind of real sharp cinematography, I thought that was really, overall, the better, more entertaining movie. That's why I gave it adequate plus a little pepper.
It was that pepper that did it.
It's a little grit of the pepper.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't want your pepper to be gritty.
Yeah, I guess it's more salt that's gritty.
Yeah.
But wouldn't have matched the name of the bad guy.
You're right. It wouldn't have matched Ned Pepper. Oh, new one's got a better cast. All around, I think it's better. Josh Brolin, they have that same line. Him and the guy from the old one, Cheney. What did they say when she says she's going to take him back to town? Well, I will not go. What do you say about that?
I like the way they talk.
Yeah,
they talked back then. Isn't it crazy too to think that crowds gathered to watch people be executed in the town square? In the gallows.
I want to say yes, but people still watch them.
They do still watch them, but they're not public, right?
No, but
it's usually like so the family can have a little bit of closure or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was going to ask you a politically charged question. Are you for or against the death penalty?
Oh,
but we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that another time.
Another time.
I just know if I was the one having to make the decision, I would want to know for sure.
That would be a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
Well, that was a rambling, fun mess.
I
feel like we
regret though.
Both of them. I would lean towards the new one. Yeah. It's better. But if you only have a chance to watch the old one, it's still good. Still pretty good. Jeff Bridges, not Lloyd Bridges, plays a little bit better drunkard than John Wayne.
Yeah, I agree. I looked up his brother's name. It's Bo.
Bo Bridges. Yeah. I was thinking like Ben or something.
Yeah.
Bo Bridges. Bo. He's more in like made for TV movies and things like that. Yeah. Not that that's any less, but it's a good acting family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's another episode. We've got the holidays coming up. If you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah is over.
Hanukkah ended today. I don't.
The day we're recording, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, the day we're recording, it ended. I only know that because of my calendar. And so, happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends and listeners.
Yeah, or even if you're investigating the Jewish religion, happy Hanukkah to you. Do you say it with a Hanukkah? Is it got that like in chutzpah?
If you put the C in front of it, I think that happens.
Well, doesn't it normally have a C in front of it?
I think with the Yiddish spelling.
Yeah. I love learning Yiddish words. They're fun. Yeah. That's probably why I like Fiddler on the Roof so much. L'chaim. Anyway, yeah, happy holidays to those out there. We've got other holidays coming up, and then the New Year's. Hopefully, we'll have another episode out the week before New Year's or the week of New Year's. This will air the week of Christmas for those that celebrate. And our coming up episodes, we're going to do some more comparisons because this is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of, I mean, there's still movies coming out, but
Yeah, it's been a slow year. First time in our lives, I'd say that, summer blockbusters and Christmas blockbusters or something are not really a thing. No one's talking too much about them.
no.
Not much.
Maybe we'll have to watch something that comes out new, and I don't know if you want to watch the new Mulan, and we can give that a rating.
Yeah.
Give something new a rating, although it's a new twist on an old Disney movie, on an even older Chinese story.
Yeah.
A short Chinese story, I believe, from the one person I asked about it.
My wife's family did buy tickets to go see Wonder Woman 1984 on Christmas Day.
Oh, ooh.
So we will be seeing that one.
That one might be good.
Yeah.
I felt like there's too many movies to talk about in one. I was going to start giving my opinion on it.
We just like movies. They're good.
Yeah. But for now...
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, before we close, we did not mention drinks tonight.
Oh.
I had milk and cookies tonight, so I was actually on the video lifting up my milk glass. You could see some
cookies in there.
I was trying to get out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, is that 1%?
Always.
What if your wife wasn't a 1%er?
Would
you have changed her?
Yeah, I would have had to work on it. Slowly mix the gallons till her tastes change. She's not a milk person at all. So.
Oh, okay. I'm an occasional milk drinker. But drinks, huh?
You got something there.
I do.
And I've been watching Nancy Cove. And I know that in your most recent one, you said your cravings were really strong.
They were. And I may have actually went out and got a Coke. I may have succumbed to my craving.
It's okay. I hope you don't feel like it's all a failure because...
Well, no. I got frustrated. So this is on the drinking sugar things. I got frustrated because it's been a couple months and of cutting more than 1,000 calories of sugary drink, and I haven't been eating that much more
per day, right?
Per day.
Yeah.
And in 2 months, I've lost 5 pounds, and I expected that to be a bigger difference.
Yeah, that is hard.
That's a lot of calories. So I got to talk to one of my antidepressants that I'm on has a tendency to either make you hungry or make you gain weight. So
yeah,
I think it's that.
Well, you've had
those
what they call non-scale victories in the 2 months, right? The NSVs.
I don't know what that means.
Thing like successes and benefits that haven't been related to weight. Like
sleeping
and your anxiety and...
No, I still have anxiety and panic attacks.
Didn't you tell me? Well, you did say like your heartburn.
Heartburn got better. Yeah. I still get it, so I still take my daily medicine for it, but
yeah,
it got better. So
to me, you felt like you're always a funny guy, but you felt like an even more bubbly.
Maybe. I will say that for those out there, sugar does apparently do something for heartburn. Like it doesn't help, but it seems to make it worse, at least for me. So I don't know if that's the case for the world, but yeah. I want to say what we're going to talk about next and I don't know if it's going to be the next episode because TJ and I want to do an episode of our top 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do a top 5 game list at some point, but we had a request from one of your parents, right? Can I mention this? Should I mention this? Yeah. From old Papa Brando. which I mean your Papa Brando, but your pops suggested we rank or rank our favorite James Bond movie.
Yeah,
which will be fun because I'm a big Bond fan. I've read all of the original books and things. So
my dad has always been a Bond fan. I'm a Bond fan, so I thought that was a great idea.
So that'll be our next. It's not really, it won't be a comparison, but I guess we'll compare my favorite James Bond movie versus your favorite James Bond movie.
Yeah.
So look for that. And we want to thank Art House Cases again for sponsoring us. Remember, they're a new company that's currently on the lookout for artists. So they specialize in printing artwork onto phone cases. They're looking for new artists that they can buy their artwork from and put that on to cases. So if you are an artist, if you know of any artists that are willing to look into that, have any questions, just check them out at www.arthousecases.com. And they've sent us some cases, but we're holding off on showing.
We will.
We will. We promise. It's just a secret.
It's good stuff.
We want to tease something.
All right. Well, my drink is, maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but I am literally out of milk. And you can see all the cookies in my...
That's gross, man.
My cup. Well, I was swishing it around and...
You got it just like a dip, and that's it.
I got talking, and I lost one down in there when I was let it get too soft.
My drink it's not empty, but good enough. It's this is a long episode, but we appreciate you joining us. Yeah. This is kind of fun.
We haven't recorded in a while, and I think we just had to get it out a little bit.
Yeah. But for those following us, follow us on social media as well. On the Twitters, on the Instagrams. Send us some comments. Talk to us about our history lesson at the beginning. Let us know, our listener in France. Let us know how far off we were, how wrong we were. And we'll correct ourselves next time. But I know we've got listeners from around the globe, and that's pretty exciting. Hopefully we've piqued your interest in some of these movies. If not, maybe we will one day.
Yep.
And so there's that.